Okay, the next topic is hindbrain and midbrain. As I said, these are embryological terms that you don't need to know, but they correspond to the brainstem. So let's take a look at that. The brainstem has three parts: the medulla oblongata, pons, and midbrain. So let's take a look at the figure. Right here, you have midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. The part that you see here in blue is the diencephalon. Some books consider the diencephalon part of the brainstem, but some books don't. So we're not going to consider that as part of the brainstem. If you look in here, you have the posterior view of the brainstem. Again, let's skip the blue part because that's the encephalon, so we are not going to cover that as part of the brainstem, but we will cover the encephalon later on. So right here we have the first part is going to be the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. So you have in here a nice figure that is going to show you more or less what is the disposition of the brainstem with respect to your central nervous system. So it starts up in here, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. Again, the very top is the diencephalon. We're not going to cover that right now. Here in the back, you have the cerebellum, and on top, you have the cerebrum. So the brainstem is this part right here. So if this is like a flower, so this would be the stem of the brain, right? So, but one of the most important things that you need to look at is that regardless of the part of the brainstem that you're looking at, there are always these yellow structures coming out of it. These are the nerves. What type of nerves are those? Since these nerves are inside your cranium, then these nerves are going to be called cranial nerves. So the cranial nerves are in very close relationship to the brainstem, and that's why you see all these yellow structures in here. Now, in order for you to understand the functions of the brainstem, it would be very easy just to learn the functions of all the cranial nerves, because that will tell you exactly what each one of them are going to do. So just to give you an idea of that, so let's keep scrolling down. The first part was the medulla oblongata, and you can see here is that the nerves involved are 8, 9, 10, and 12. So let's take a look at the next one. You can skip these figures. Those are specific parts of the medulla oblongata. I'm not going to ask you that. I don't think you need to know that. Then you have the pons. So in the pons, we can take a look at the different cranial nerves that we need. And you can see here, so it says cranial nerves from 5 to 8. So it's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if we keep scrolling down, that's for the pons, we can get to the midbrain. And in the midbrain, you can see they relates to cranial nerve number 3 and number 4. So as I was telling you, if you learn the functions of the cranial nerves, which you have to, then you will know also the functions of the brainstem. So let's take a look at the cranial nerves. Okay, we have right here the cranial nerves, and you can see a nice figure right here with a picture actually of the bottom part of the brain. So you can see here, this is the midbrain, this part, pons, and medulla oblongata. And you can see here the arrow showing you all these lines right here where you have the cranial nerves. This is just a graphical representation of that, where you see all the cranial nerves. We have a total of 12 cranial nerves, and these are inside your cranium. So therefore, they control everything that got to do with your neck, and I mean, most of the things that got to do with your face and your head. So you have in there the cranial nerves, and this is what you need to know. Basically, the name of the nerve, the type of nerve that it is, and the function. So the very first one is olfactory nerve. Olfactory nerve, obviously the function is a smell, and it's called sensory because the only thing that you're going to do with the olfactory nerve is just a smell. You don't move your nose with that. We use a different cranial nerve in order to do that. So that's cranial nerve number 1, olfactory nerve. Cranial nerve number 2 is going to be the optic nerve. Optic nerve, what you achieve with that? Vision. What type of nerve it is sensory, because the only thing that you're going to do with it is just seeing or eyesight. Okay, you don't move your eyes with the optic nerve. For that, you have other nerves. If you scroll now, you're going to see that, for example, cranial nerve number 3 is called oculomotor. Oculo sounds like eye, motor sounds like movement. So therefore, this one is going to help you with eye movements. So therefore, this is mainly what? Motor. So far you can see that there are some cranial nerves that are pure sensory, such as like olfactory nerve, which is just for smelling. You don't move anything. And you have some other ones that are mainly motor, like the oculomotor, for example, that is going to help you move your eyes. Okay, so you don't see with this nerve. The only thing you're going to do is just moving your eyes. But that's not the only nerve that is going to help you move your eyes, because you have another one, such as the trochlear, which is cranial nerve number 4, that is also going to help you move it's going to help you move the eyes as well. So it's also considered predominantly motor. The next one is going to be cranial nerve number 5, trigeminal. Tri sounds like 3 because this nerve has actually 3 branches, as you can see here. Division 1 is ophthalmic. Division 2 is going to be maxillary, as you can see in there. And division 3 is going to be mandibular. So this nerve, trigeminal, is considered mixed. Why? Because you actually have pieces that are going to be sensory and pieces that are going to be motor. So you can see here the 3 branches: trigeminal, maxillary, as well as mandibular. The next one is going to be cranial nerve number 6, which is abducens. This is also predominantly motor because it helps you move your eyes. So cranial nerve number 7 is facial. It's considered mixed, okay, because it helps you taste, but it also moves a lot of muscles that you have in your face. Okay, that one is facial, and it has several branches. In particular, it actually has 5 branches, as you can see here. They're going to be temporal, zygomatic, buccal, mandibular, and cervical. So facial nerve is mixed. Next one, vestibulocochlear. This one is in your ears. This one helps you with hearing and equilibrium, and it's mainly sensory. Okay, so the next one is going to be glossopharyngeal. Glosso sound it always means tongue. So this one helps you move your tongue, helps you taste. Okay, also helps you with salivation and gagging. So that's why it's called mixed. Next one, we got the vagus, the very important nerve. Vagus is cranial nerve number 10. It gives you sensory, it gives you taste. Okay, and it also helps you with swallowing and speech, but has a very important characteristic that you can see right here in your figure. Cranial nerve number 10 not only works in the tongue and in the mouth, but it also goes down here into your organs as part of the autonomic nervous system. This is something we're going to see soon, and it helps you, for example, in the case of your heart, make your heart beat slower. So you have to remember this is very important cranial nerve number 10, because it helps you with the cranial part, right, such as speech and taste, but also goes down. It helps you with the control of many organs that we have in our abdominal and thoracic area. So therefore, it's a mixed nerve. Cranial nerve number 11 is accessory nerve. It helps you with swallowing as well as movement of the neck. Part of it, well, some of the muscles in your neck are controlled by this nerve. So that's why you have in here the neck. And then if you keep scrolling down, you have in here hypoglossal, cranial nerve number 10. Number 10, I mean, is a very important nerve because it's going to be a nerve that is going to be related to the tongue. It's going to help you with movements necessary for speech or swallowing or food manipulation, and it's considered predominantly motor. So now you have learned that some nerves are sensory, some nerves are motor, and some nerves are mixed. So if you keep scrolling down, you have a nice graph in here where they are showing you where all the nerves are going to work. And you have in here also a mnemotechnic rule that may help you remember all the cranial nerves. So if you keep scrolling down, you have complications of diseases that affect the cranial nerves, and that's about it for that. Okay, so going back to the brainstem, we can see again midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, and the nerves coming out of it. So the very first one was the medulla oblongata, and we can see here again the nerves. Now that we have looked at the cranial nerves, and we said number 9 is glossopharyngeal. That's for the tongue. Glosso, I told you, is tongue. 10 also works with the tongue. And 12 is hypoglossal, also with the tongue. That's why if you look in here, you see it says functions: chewing, salivation, swallowing, gagging, because everything got to do with all these cranial nerves. Also, don't forget that we have cardiovascular control as well as gastrointestinal control. Remember I told you cranial nerve number 10 is vagus, and that one goes all the way down to your abdomen and thorax in order to control these things. So therefore, you can see that functions of the midbrain are related to gagging, chewing, control of the heart, control of gastrointestinal movements, because those are controlled with these cranial nerves. So if we keep scrolling down, we can go to the pons. In the pons, we said that we're going to have cranial nerves from number 5 to number 8. So then number 8 is for vestibulocochlear. So that one is for hearing, for equilibrium. Number 5 is trigeminal. Number 7 is facial. That got to do with the sensations in your face. Number 6 is abducens, which is eye movement. So if you look in here, you can see functions in hearing, equilibrium, right? That's number 8. Taste, right? Facial sensations with number 7. Okay, so then those are the functions of the pons. Again, if you know the cranial nerves, you know the functions. Midbrain. So midbrain, we said they are going to be related to cranial nerve number 3, oculomotor, cranial nerve number 4, which is going to be trochlear. Both of them are for eye movement. So these two are very important for functions that relate to the eyes, such as, for example, in here it says control of eye movements. Okay. Not only that, but also related to the eyes, such as what? Blinking, focusing, pupillary dilation and constriction, etc., etc. Okay, so those are the functions of the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata with respect to the cranial nerves. As long as you know that, you should be okay. So then that's about it for the brain stem.